What if a city of 100,000 people simply stopped existing overnight? No war, no earthquake recorded in the soil, no evidence of plague in the bones, no signs of fire in the ruins, just silence. And the most disturbing part? This actually happened. More than once. In 1350 BC, one of the largest cities in the ancient world was abandoned. Overnight. Its name was Akhenaten. Today we call it Amarna. It sat on the eastern bank of the Nile, in a stretch of desert that had never been settled before. Built in less than 5 years. A city of palaces, temples, administrative centers, housing for 20,000 workers, and roads wide enough for 10 men to walk abreast. It was built by the most controversial pharaoh in Egyptian history, Akhenaten, the pharaoh who tried to destroy every god Egypt had ever worshipped and replace them all with one. The conventional story is that Akhenaten was mad, a religious zealot who abandoned Egypt's traditions, destabilized the empire, and whose city died when he did. But archaeologist Barry Kemp at Cambridge University has spent over 40 years excavating Amarna. His findings tell a story that is far more disturbing than religious fanaticism. The city did not decline slowly. The evidence shows it was evacuated with extraordinary speed. Personal objects left behind, tools still in workshops, food storage sealed as if residents expected to return, but they never did. The bones tell a different story. The South Tomb Cemetery at Amarna contains the remains of thousands of workers and ordinary citizens. Bioarchaeologist Jerome Rose analyzed these remains in one of the most detailed skeletal studies of any ancient population. What he found was unexpected. The people of Amarna were not healthy. Evidence of severe malnutrition, stunted growth in children, fractures consistent with forced labor, spinal damage from heavy loads carried from childhood. This was not a prosperous city. This was a city built on the broken bodies of the people who built it. And then Akhenaten died. What followed is one of the strangest episodes in ancient history. His successor, a young pharaoh who would become the most famous face in Egyptian history, initially continued his father's religion. His original name was Tutankhaten, meaning living image of the Aten, the sun disk that Akhenaten had made the only god. But within 2 years of taking the throne, the boy changed his name to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, the old god, the one his father had tried to erase. And the city was abandoned, not destroyed, not buried, not burned, simply left. But here is what the official history does not tell you. The abandonment of Amarna was only the beginning of the erasure. In the decades that followed, every image of Akhenaten was systematically destroyed. His face was chiseled from temple walls. His name was removed from official records. His statues were smashed and buried. The pharaohs who came after him referred to his reign as the time of the enemy, not even worthy of a name. Amarna itself was dismantled stone by stone. The temples were taken apart. The building materials were used in other cities. The very stones of the city were scattered across Egypt so that nothing would remain. And it worked. For over 3,000 years, Akhenaten was forgotten. His city was forgotten. The most radical religious revolution in the ancient world, erased so completely that when archaeologists first found the ruins in the 1800s, they did not know whose city it was. But Amarna is not the only city that vanished without explanation. 5,000 years ago, in the Indus Valley, a civilization built cities more advanced than anything in ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, cities with grid-planned streets, running water, sewage systems, standardized weights and measures, multi-story buildings. A civilization of nearly 5 million people, stretching across an area larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. And then, around 1900 BC, they simply stopped. No conquest is recorded. No enemy armies appear in the archaeological record. No mass graves of battle victims. The cities were not burned. They were not destroyed. They were left. Archaeologist Jonathan Mark Knoyer at the University of Wisconsin has spent decades studying the Indus Valley Civilization. His current theory involves a combination of climate shift, changing river courses, and the collapse of long-distance trade networks. But here's what makes his findings genuinely unsettling. The Indus Valley script has never been deciphered. We have found over 4,000 inscriptions, and we cannot read a single one. An entire civilization that communicated in writing, and we have no idea what they said, what they feared, what they believed, what they were trying to preserve when they left. 2 cities, 2 civilizations, 2 disappearances. One erased by its successors, one still speaking to us in a language we cannot hear. There is a pattern in how civilizations disappear. They rarely end the way we expect. Not with fire, not with conquest, with silence. A door left open, a tool laid down, a city walked away from as if its people believed they were coming back. The ruins of Amarna sit in the Egyptian desert, mostly unexcavated. The Indus Valley cities cover an area we have barely begun to explore. Somewhere in the unread inscriptions of Mohenjo-daro, in the sealed rooms of houses left intact over 3,000 years ago, someone left a message. We just don't know how to read it yet. And the most haunting question is not what happened to these cities. It is whether the people who left them knew what was coming and chose silence over explanation.